Craven County Board of Education to order. I would like for Dr. Miller to call the roll, please.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening. Ms. Frances Boomer.
Here.
Ms. Naomi Clark.
Present.
Mr. Victor Dove. Mr. Carl Apop.
Present.
Ms. Stephanie King.
Here.
Ms. Kelly Muse.
Here.
Ms. Kimberly Smith.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to know if there are any amendments to the agenda.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Chair, I'm asking that the item listed under N2, our goals, be moved to our work session on November 16th. I'm also requesting, in view of an inordinate amount of time that has been devoted to this goal, that it be listed right under recognitions as opposed to be at the end of the agenda. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. So at this time, I'd like to get a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and second that the agenda for tonight is approved. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, agenda is approved. And at this time, I would like to share our mission statement and our vision statement, please. Our vision statement says that we envision a public education system that challenges all students as learners and prepares them to imagine and create a successful life, values educators, and empowers them to inspire and spark innovation in every student, leads in education and community engagement, and invites all students, their families, and all members of the community to work together to support public education to the benefit of our students, our community, our nation, and our world. Our mission statement says, together with our families and community, Craven County Schools would educate our learners to personal, professional, and civic success through challenging and personalized instruction. And at this time, I would like for Vice Chair Kimberly Smith, and she would go over our rules, ground rules, our bin items, and the safety procedure in the event that we have an emergency.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman Boomer. Our meeting ground rules are posted on that back wall, the big green sign. Back there, we use them for all of our meetings at schools and in every Craven County Schools meeting. There you go, like Vanna. You show us. Post and approve the agenda, which you just saw us do. Listen as an ally. One person speaks at a time. To remind everybody, it's a board meeting, so one person speaking at a time is us up here. The audience, unless the chairperson calls on you, that's you're silent during this kind of meeting or during input. So that one person speaking at a time is the board. Respect each other. That's everyone in the room. No sidebars. Everyone participates. Again, that's the board. Stay on task. If you start and stop on time, schedule appropriate breaks, evaluate at the end of each meeting. And if everyone in the room could put your cell phones, your watches, anything that beeps, makes any kind of noise that could distract the meeting, if we could put those on silent, or better yet, just turn it off so we can be present with each other, that would be great. Bin item, board members, if you have an off-task thought to keep us, help us stay on the agenda, put it on a sticky note, put it on the gray here, and Chairman Boomer will make sure that we cover it before the end of the meeting. As Mr. IPOC is showing down there, there's I believe that's a bin item there that we'll get before the end of the meeting. Safety procedures, there's a lot of us in here tonight. So if we had a tornado drill, we're going to split the room right down the middle. So you're it. If you're going to my right this way, if we have tornado drill, we're going to go into the interior hallway. To my right, to my left, you're going to go into the interior hallway. Give me 2 volunteers of these kids in the front. There you go. I saw 2 hands go up. Come up here. Show us what we're going to do if we have a tornado drill. Yep, that's you right there in the blue shirt. You can all 3 come up. Go show us what we do in a tornado drill.
What you do with your body.
Yeah, show us what we need to do. That's right. So they show us Thank you. And we would stay in that position until we got the all clear, and then we come back in the room. Fire drill, we're gonna split the room the same way. To my right, we're gonna go outside into the parking lot. To the left, we're gonna go out to the furniture store next door, and we'll wait for the all clear. If we were to have an intruder in the building and they were not in the room with us, we would secure the doors, lock them, alert the building, call for help, and wait for the all clear. If we were to have an intruder here in the room with us, we are going to still call for help, alert the building, and then we're going to take care of each other because that's what we do, right, guys? Yeah. That's right. So there you go. We have all of our procedures, Chairman Boomer.
Just keep in mind that not all of us will fall at that rate at the same time. And at this time, we would like to take the opportunity to recognize all our elected officials who are present with us tonight. We are very proud to recognize our Principal of the Year. Ms. Freewood, will you please stand? Because some of them don't know you. She is a principal of Havelock High School. We would like to recognize our Teacher of the Year, Ms. Arnita Morris from H.M. McDonald. Our military liaison, Ms. Letha Palmer. Our Partners in Education Executive Director, Ms. Darlene Brown. And at this time, I would like all our principal and staff of the Craven County School System, if you would please stand. And I would like to do something a little bit different as well. I would like for all our retired educators who are with us tonight, if they would please stand. And at this time, I would like to ask our board attorney, Mr. Brian Gatchell, if he would come and do the invocation for us tonight.
Board members, if you'll please pray with me. Return to us, O God. Dwell in the midst of us, in this place, in our cities, neighborhoods, and nation, that we would again acknowledge you. May you see reason to call us faithful, and may we reflect your glory to all who would see. In you, may both youth and those of age find reason to be joyful. May all marvel at your handiwork, your steadfast love, and your saving mercy. Cause our hands to be strong to do the work you have set before us. Sow your peace in the fields of our hearts, and bring forth your fruit in the garden you have called us to attend. Give increase to our fellowship, and pour out on your house a spirit of compassion and mutual concern. We give ourselves over to your instruction to speak truth to one another, to render judgments that are true, and to find solutions which lead to peace. May we not harbor ill will in our hearts against each other, but may we be intentional in making this a time of cooperation and kindness. In you, we do find truth and hope, and in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank Ed. And now we would like to recognize our students from Graham A. Barton, and we're going to ask them to lead the Pledge of Allegiance for us. I'm going to ask everybody to stand. And we welcome Ms. Emma Gasser, Kaya Rival, Joycelyn Prince, Jada Jones, Dylan Lawson, and Emily Toll, and they will leave us with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. I forgot to welcome everybody here tonight. We certainly are happy that you have joined us, and we have a house full, and wish we had enough seats to accommodate everybody. But at this time, and this is fun part of our meeting. We get a chance to see our children, our students participate. And they are going to do our character work and our core value for us tonight. And so let us sit back, relax, and take in what they have to share with us tonight.
Welcome viewers to this live news broadcast. I am Emma Angaster, field reporter for WGAV News. Today, we are here at Grandma Barton Elementary School after we have received a news tip concerning action here on responsibility. Let's go to the playground and see if we can find out the details in this live broadcast. Hey, hold up. How are you doing today? Did you eat your lunch? Great, but why did you throw your lunch on the ground? Do you think that's behaving responsibly? Imagine what our playground would look like if everyone threw the trash on the ground. You should be more responsible. Awesome. Thank you for showing that you're responsible. What a wonderful update and fantastic show of responsibility. What's that? Okay, folks, this just in. Apparently, there's another occurrence needing responsibility. Over to you, DJ.
Welcome viewers to this live feed coming to you from the Grandma Barton Elementary School Library. I am B.A. Sampson, your WGAV field reporter for speedy coverage of all things news.
Hey! What are you doing? Why'd you put that book in the wrong place, not in between the other books? If someone comes out and wants that book, they won't be able to find it. Do you think that's being responsible? It's okay, I'll show you being responsible. There, now if anyone wants to read the book, they'll be able to find it.
Well, how about that most wonderful display of being responsible. We are so lucky to have so many dads who know how to be responsible. This just is worse. It seems as though there is some type of commotion going on in the hallway. Let's cut it to Emily Toll as she covers this live.
Good afternoon, viewers. I'm Emily Toby from the JV, coming to you live from Grandma Barton Elementary School, where there has been some commotion reported in this hallway. Let's see what we can find out.
Whoa, buddy, what's your hurry? It's dangerous to run in school hallways, especially when you don't know who may be coming around the corner. People get hurt when we run in the school hallways. Let's be responsible and act like polite manners.
Responsibility. Thank you, viewers, for tuning into this live report. This is Emily Toll signing off from WGAV, and I hope you all have a good week.
Thank you for watching our video on responsibility. At Grandma Barton, being responsible keeps us just soaring high and soaring together.
They had another part, I think.
Yeah.
While they're getting ready for the second part, look like we have lots of actors and actresses on the way. Okay.
All right, so this is the second part of your presentation. This is going to be managing for innovation. You got one? You can just leave right there.
Thank you for attending this month's character word explore. As you know, this month's character word is responsibility, and the core value is managing for innovation. This evening, we will demonstrate what that looks like. Managing innovation is starting at the initial stage of the idea through to its final stage of success and completion.
Hi, my name is Clarissa. Board members, I would like you all to participate. If you may, please step down and take a seat.
I'm scared.
Superintendent Dr. Miller, we would like you to participate as well.
Oh, I got out of that.
You will have a blue tail with something in it. Please pick up your tail up at this time. Without speaking to anyone, turning to your partner, please put the puzzle pieces together that you have in front of you. Now you may turn to the one person beside you. And without speaking, try to put the puzzle pieces together.
Little bit, just a little.
Now you may go back to your original seats with your pail and your puzzle pieces to all work together.
Say that one more time.
Still a little difficult to put together. Now you may go with your seats to your pail in a bucket, in the puzzle inside one.
Okay, back to our seats there. Thank you.
This is part two.
Couldn't make it work. You're gonna have all things.
I'm glad to see it. We got you.
Now, work together to put the whole puzzle.
Tonight?
Do we need a clap?
Well,
We gotta work together for our puzzle pieces together. They kind of put when we take the puzzle pieces down there.
no.
We have to put the whole. we have to do it all.
Stephanie got this color. Stephanie, she got your color down here.
You got my phone?
Uh-huh.
Come on down.
You got it? I think y'all just got my colors. Let me see. I think y'all must got something that I need down here, because I got some.
I'm bringing all mine down there.
Why? Why? Why?
Oh,
We got to have y'all's pieces too.
Yeah, y'all them
One
trim.
big one.
We got a few.
Here. They have your pieces?
Yes.
there's your pen.
Yeah.
One more help you make.
Looks like Stephanie's done a puzzle or two. I said, it looks like you've done a puzzle or two.
The babies are watching.
This activity, what could we have done differently?
It worked when we worked together as a team.
It would have been better if we had had a picture before, so we would see what the end result needs to look like.
It probably would have been better if we had one of you on our team.
The purpose of this exercise was to understand what managing for innovation looks like. When we work together, things come together. Sometimes when you're working alone or given a task with minimal instructions, it can be difficult to make the pieces fit. But when working together collectively, all the pieces of the puzzle come together. I hope that was a fun exercise.
You all did a wonderful job.
Did we get extra point for this? In the goodies? Thank you. You are, I mean, this was really good.
Yeah.
It was really good.
And we're going to
Thank
celebrate
you.
them again when you guys get down front. So while Chairman Boomer and Dr. Miller are moving down front for the recognitions, the first one we're going to recognize are you guys, because the Veterans of Foreign Wars provide certificates for you guys for leading us in the pledge. And then you'll get a certificate for helping us with that great character word and our core values. So I'll call your names one more time. I'll try to get them right. Emma Ingasser, Kai Ryba, Jocelyn Prince, Jada Jones, Dylan Lawson, and Emily Toll. Goodbye.
Uh-oh. There you go. No.
This is management. Great job.
Good job. Now we're going to begin with our staff recognitions, and we'll begin by calling on Board Member Stephanie King to recognize the recipients of advanced degrees.
Okay. Thank you, Vice Chairman Kim. As a district, we believe that the professional growth of our employees is essential for performance excellence. Just as we celebrate the accomplishments of our student leaders in and out the classroom, likewise, we celebrate the achievements of our adult classroom leaders as well. Employees who earn advanced degrees show commitment to the vision of the school district. Completing a program of study reflects their desire to be involved in professional growth to increase their impact on student learning and to possibly assume positions as school leaders in Craven County. This is also applicable for our teacher assistants who return to school, complete a degree, and obtain a teaching license. So on tonight, we would like to recognize the following, and if you are here, if you will please come forward. We have Orlando Brickhouse from Bridgeton Elementary, receiving a Master of Arts in Executive Leadership Studies. Ashley Coley, Havelock High, Master of Instructional Technology. Betsy Gatchell, Central Services, Masters in School Administration. Erica Hill, Central Services, Associates of Science in Health Administration Services. Alexander Jackson, Havelock High, MS Biological Sciences Education. Malaya Lewis, West Craven High, Masters in Education. Katie Scarfin, Havelock Middle, Master of Education in Adult Education, Master of Education in Instructional Technology. Whitty Tidwell, Bridgeton Elementary, Master of Arts in Reading with an emphasis in elementary education. Gray Tipton, Central Services, Masters in School Administration. Matthew Turpin, Havelock Middle, MAT in Middle School Social Studies. Sayla Wagner, Tucker Creek Middle, MAT in middle grades. Dr. Ronika Wallace, Graham A. Barton Elementary, Doctor of Education in Curriculum and Instruction. And Daniel Williams, Grover C. Field Middle, Master of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies in Education and Exercise Science. And let's give all of these qualified educators another hand clap. Congratulations.
And now, with great pleasure, I'll call on my fellow Havelock board member, to recognize our principal of the year. We have a little bit of pride in her.
Have a lot strong. Mrs. Freeman, would you come up here, please? Thank you. On October 8th, 2021, during a surprise announcement, Mrs. Stacy Freeble, principal of Havelock High School, was named the 2021-2022 Principal of the Year for Craven County Schools. In her role as Principal of the Year, she will serve as the local advisor to the Board of Education and will represent Craven County Schools in local, regional, and state events. Mrs. Freeble was one of 3 finalists that interviewed with a local selection committee on October 4th. During the selection process, Mrs. Freeble shared her school slogan, "Love all, serve all," which drives the work they do at Havelock High School. As a school, they started a process for identifying model classrooms within the building that can serve as a support system for both Havelock High School and the district. During her time as principal, she has established a way to recognize and celebrate outstanding classrooms and teachers by creating the Freeble Focus newsletter. Mrs. Freeble discussed the importance of creating a culture of academic excellence and using the framework for continuous improvement. She stated, "Continuous improvement is what great leaders do." When asked what event in your administrative career left an enduring impression on her, she shared her experience as a first-year principal. A retired principal mentored her and taught her to make sound decisions and guided her in the right direction. She stated, "The beauty of that was that he let me learn and grow. He steered me when I needed it and gave me a chance to thrive or fail." She has taken those lessons learned and models those practices with her AP assistant principals and teacher leaders. In her portfolio, she exemplifies her leadership style by sharing these thoughts. School leadership that builds an atmosphere of trust and mutual respect is a school leadership that is built on service and humility. I believe out of all my responsibilities and duties, the most sacred is serving teachers, students, and families. Service manifests itself in different ways. Tonight, we would like to congratulate Mrs. Stacy Freeble for this very deserving recognition. We are proud of you, especially Kim and I, and all you have accomplished as you support the Havelock High School Rams in reaching great success. Continue to let your passion drive your work in creating a culture of excellence for staff, students, the Havelock community, and all of our communities. Thank you. Thank you.
What, speech, speech?
Yes.
Thank you for putting me on the spot. There really are no words. I'd just like to say how extremely honored I am to stand before you, to serve in Craven County Schools, to represent each and every one of you in this room, regardless of your role. It is just overwhelming. And thank you.
For our final staff recognition, I'll call on fellow board member Carr Ipock to recognize Partners in Education and the North Carolina Community Foundation.
Thank you. Thank you. And if I could, Mrs. Freeble, you don't have to be from Havelock to be proud of.
That's right.
Tonight, we're recognizing Partners in Education, the North Carolina Community Foundation, and the Craven Community Foundation, along with Havelock High and West Craven High. With representatives of those organizations, Montrell Lee, Stacy Freeble, Corey Lipsky, Ann Sorhagen, and Darlene Brown join us up front to be recognized. Tyler Harris. In September, NCCF awarded Partners in Education a total of $10,906.27, $5,906.27 for a grant for Havelock High for graphing calculators, and $5,000 for a grant for West Craven High for the band program. These grants were awarded through the Harry and Virginia Killian Charitable Endowment and the Craven County Unrestricted Fund. The West Craven High Award funds will go to purchasing a set of matching battery precision instruments for parades, football games, and competitions. The equipment will consist of bass drums, snare drums, and tenor drums. The grant award for Havelock High will fund 52 Easy Spot graphing calculators, giving their math students the tools needed to meet the mandatory test standards of the North Carolina math curriculum. Awarding of this grant demonstrates NCCF's understanding that success in high school math is a critical step for many of our students to meet graduation requirements. NCCF's mission is to inspire North Carolinians to make lasting and meaningful contributions to their communities. Craven Community Foundation works in that partnership with NCCF to access grant making and other resources that support local charitable purposes. Thank you to the Craven Community Foundation and the Harry and Virginia Killian Charitable Endowment for funding these grants. These awards demonstrate their continuing commitment to improving opportunities for our students here in Craven County.
Special thank you tonight to Mr. Tyler Harris who joined us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would say a couple of words. Just Mike will be fine. My name is Tyler Harris. I'm a board member, past president of the Craven Community Foundation, where 24 of our local Craven County residents serve on that board. And we operate with an endowment from people like the Killians that you mentioned, deceased from Greenbrier. And that's where our funding comes from, through applications of nonprofits in this county, and through the schools and through your organization, Partners in Education. Together, we're able to enhance a little bit of what's done in the school system, because we all know there are not enough funds from federal, state, and local sources. So we're glad to be a partner to partners. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We have one last recognition, and it calls for everything a little bit differently, but I really like for people to stand up here and have y'all stare at them for as long as humanly possible. So I'm going to call Miss Myra Flowers up front. For many years, Myra has been extremely dedicated and committed employee supporting the Board of Education, the current superintendent, and 3 former superintendents, as well as the staff at Central Services. Loyal, dependable, trustworthy, and professional are just a few of the fine qualities that Myra has that come to mind when we think about Myra and her work ethic. Myra has a way of helping, caring, and assisting that truly defines superior excellence when related to customer service. Myra has committed 24 years of service to Craven County Schools and is now ready to commit some much deserved time to herself. It'll be very hard to fill her shoes and she will be greatly missed, but we wish her nothing but the best on her next adventure, which we hear includes a lot of fishing and traveling. Myra, well, there's more. Myra, you've made us look great for many, many years. And I'm one of those who's been through the 4 superintendents with you, and you have helped in more ways than this paper will ever be able to say, and you know that. So it's great to shine the light on you. We cannot thank you enough for your contributions and hard work. You've become a part of our family. You've become a friend. You've become a confidant. And most importantly, you're a true example of a phenomenal servant leader. So tonight we celebrate you, Myra Flowers, Administrative Assistant to the Board of Education. And can y'all just imagine how hard that is to work for these boards as they continually change, and superintendents, and phenomenal servant leader, and extend a heartfelt thank you for all of your contributions to Craven County Schools. Thank you. That completes our recognitions.
Oh. Get myself together here. Stop sniffing, Dr. No. And at this time, we're going to ask Ms. Smith if she would do a summary of our board session, please.
Which is one more thing Myra Flowers does. When I send this summary to her, if I forget to send it, she reminds me. So whoever, if you're listening and you're going to replace Myra, remember to send Ms. Smith a reminder when the summary doesn't get in on time, and she fixes it when I mess it up. So just a list of the things that she does for us. But this is a summary of our work session on Tuesday. We met on Tuesday for about 6 hours. Participating with us at that meeting was our parent representative, who was also from Grand Barden, Jessica Williams. She did a great job, by the way, Grand Barden family. We had 2 students from West Craven High School, Kazine Moore and Layla Takil, and they did a great job as well. Our principal of the year, Ms. Freeble, was with us, and our teacher of the year, Arnita Morris, was there, and they all gave great input in helping us make our decisions. Now, I had to put Ms. Patrick's picture there. She's not here, is she? So she won't know. So y'all don't tell her. But she did such a great job. It was only fair to put her picture there. We had an exceptional children's report, and she did a phenomenal job with that. So I put her picture there. Community engagement update. We had an operations and resources update, a child nutrition update. And by 1 o'clock, we were really glad they had brought the bento boxes for us. If you haven't noticed those, child nutrition, they added that to give your high school athletes some protein and some healthy things to have before practice in their games. ESSER funds update, which is online. You can see that if you have questions about that funding. COVID updates and policy 4001, equal educational opportunities, was presented for first reading. Those were all informational. We didn't take any action on those. Items that we approved on Tuesday were the human resources report and changes to the COVID protocols, allowing visitors to come into the building and volunteers back in, following protocols, and field trips for people to start applying for field trips and get those going again with the current protocols in place. Also, we approved Superintendent Dr. Miller's recommendations to make Craven Cares November 12th a day that the staff will revise. We revise the school calendar, allowing Friday, November 12th to be a remote teaching day for the staff and a holiday for the students, with the only condition to be kind to somebody, even if that somebody is yourself. Items that we move to the consent agenda for tonight. You'll see us in just a few minutes approve the consent agenda. You'll think that we haven't talked about it, but we spent a lot of time talking about these things. They were moved to the consent agenda that you'll see us approve shortly. Vanceboro Farm Life rooftop unit and HVAC project, bus camera upgrades, the collaborative project with the Craven County government, Golden Leaf Foundation, and Craven County Schools to purchase 5 whole school generators. The schools were chosen based on FEMA recommendations. And the 5 schools are HCS, Havelock Elementary School, Tucker Creek Middle School, James W. Smith, West Craven Middle, and AWE. Items that we moved forward for action tonight were policy 4231 on face covering, the Lexia renewal for Core 5 and Power Up, and our board goal work, which you heard us amend the agenda earlier. So we're going to do the board goal work at our November meeting. And that's the summary of our work session. If you have any questions on any of it, you can go online, and all the reports and the PowerPoints and the presentations are all there for easy access.
Thank you for that wonderful summary. At this time, we're going to ask Ms. Michelle Lee, Assistant Superintendent of Strategic Planning and Continuous Improvement, and Mr. Jason Griffin, Director of Elementary Federal Programs, if they will come and do a presentation on Lexia renewal for core 5 and Power. And Ms. Lee is not here tonight, but because she is with her mama, so let us keep her in prayer.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr.
evening.
Miller, our in-person audience, and our listeners and viewers at home. Tonight, I come before the board asking for the approval of our Lexia contract for the 2021-2022 school year. Title I will cover all elementary and middle schools at a cost of $212,000, while Title IV funds will cover our non-Title I schools for $37,500. Lexia provides 5 coaching sessions each year to every elementary and middle school. In addition to the coaching support, they also meet with our C&I team on a regular basis to review data and help us make instructional decisions that will ultimately impact teaching and learning across Craven County. This is our 4th year of using Lexia. We started out year 1 with just our elementary schools. Year 2, we expanded to all of our middle schools. I'll take a few minutes this evening to show you the student experience in Lexia, the teacher experience in Lexia, the participation rates across our district, and also I'll show you some grade level data. So we're going to start with a video that shows you the student experience within the Lexia program.
This module will review the Lexia Core 5 reading student experience, so you'll have a good idea of what students will need to know and do as they move through the program. First, let's review the structure of the Core 5 program. Lexia Core 5 reading is made up of 21 levels. Each level is made up of activities. Each activity is made up of units. And each unit is made up of items. It's important to understand this structure as we review the student experience. When a student logs into Core 5, they will start at the Student Dashboard. The Student Dashboard provides several important pieces of information related to the student's current week of work. These include the current level, the student's usage goal, the number of minutes the student has worked in the program, the number of units the student has completed. Selecting the arrow button will move the student to the warm-up selection screen. On this screen, the student can choose one of 2 warm-ups. Each warm-up is 45 seconds long and reviews content from the previous level the student has completed. Warm-ups are designed to encourage automaticity and speed of processing, both essential skills in reading. After completing the warm-up, the student will see a short animation related to the theme of the level, before landing on the activity selection screen. Each level of Lexia Core 5 reading takes place in a different part of the world, such as the Swiss Alps, the Egyptian desert, or the Amazon rainforest. The activity selection screen will have several sparkling elements which, when selected, will play a fun fact related to the level theme. These fun facts engage the student with the program and provide contextual information for the elements they will see in the activities. The activity selection screen presents the student with a set of activities to complete. Each icon is associated with one of the core areas of reading and is color-coded based on the area it covers: phonological awareness, phonics, vocabulary, fluency, structural analysis, or comprehension. The ring around each icon is the activity progress ring, which tells students how many units are in the activity and how many they've completed. Students can choose to work on any of the activities. After students complete all units in an activity, the icon will change to a skill badge. To help pace students through a level, the first half of the activities must be completed before the second half is unlocked. When all activities have been completed, the student will see a reward animation and they will be promoted to the next level. An achievement certificate will be available in My Lexia for teachers to print and use to celebrate student success. Additionally, on completion of a level, teachers will see a skill builder assigned to the student in My Lexia to reinforce their online learning. Now, let's see what it looks like when students are working in an activity. Core 5 activities adapt based on a student's performance. All students begin in the standard step of instruction. Each time the student answers an item correctly, the unit progress bar fills and there will be small changes in the scene that will represent a completed item. When all items in a unit have been completed, the student will see a reward animation and then move to the next unit in that activity. If the student begins to struggle with an activity, they will move to the guided practice step. The guided practice step provides students with additional support and reduces the complexity of the task. If the student continues to struggle in the guided practice step, they'll move to the instruction step, which provides explicit instruction for the skill. It also provides opportunities for simplified practice before moving the student back to the standard step. Teachers can tell what level of instruction their students are working in by looking at the color of the unit progress bar on the student's screen. The color of this bar is green for the standard step, blue for the guided practice step, and yellow for the instruction step. This color change makes it easier for teachers to see which step a student is working in and intervene when necessary. This 3-step instructional branching ensures individualized learning and instruction for every student. If the student branches to the instruction step more than once, the apple in the lower left side of the screen turns red. The student is flagged as struggling in My Lexia and a specific Lexia lesson is recommended. The other buttons in the student interface are the Adjust Volume button, the Repeat Prompt button, which will replay the prompt for the current item, the Directions button, which replays the directions for the activity, and the Exit button, which will bring students back to their student dashboard. Make sure your students are familiar with these buttons before they start working independently on Core 5. If you'd like hands-on experience with the student program, you can log in to the Educator Mode. On the Core 5 login screen, select Educator and enter the username and password you use for your My Lexia account. You'll be able to navigate freely through all levels and activities in Core 5 with the Educator Dashboard. The Educator Mode is also a great way to demonstrate the Core 5 interface to students before they start working in the program.
I probably could have got with Dr. Wallace and had the kids do a presentation, probably better than video. But just really quick, I do want to go through a few slides because I want, our board and I want our parents and, people watching at home to understand really what, we're getting with Lexia. We'll go to the next slide. So when students log in, this is the screen that they see. So at the top, they have their name and then it has the place that they're going to visit. So not only does this incorporate language arts, but it also includes social studies. And it tells me that so far this week, I've got 15 minutes. It tells me my goal is 40. And it tells me that I've earned 3 units so far. And the videos that appear when a student logs in, it gives them a little bit of background information about the places they visit. So it does a really good job of incorporating other subjects and talking about other countries and places as well. So as a teacher, when I log in, this is what I see. So this is a 5th grade student. So I can see as a teacher that this student right here in 5th grade got 35 minutes. They've earned 10 units. You can see their target, the target minutes of 40. Then you've got the target units of 8. And then there's different skills. So unlike, say, for example, accelerated reader, where a student reads a book and takes a test, this is quite a different program, because what you have here is students will read passages, they will have phonics skills, they will, this student here is working on accent rules, analogies. There's a whole lot of different skills. But as a teacher, it tells me that my student on the right-hand side needs 5 minutes. If this student was struggling, then it would tell me that I would have lessons that are already prepared that a teacher can use, have at their disposal to help with their students. It tells me also that this student has earned a certificate, because this program believes in rewarding students for their really good work. And on the next slide, you'll see where I can see my whole class. So this is a kindergarten class at James W. Smith. So I can look on the right-hand side where you see the green and the yellow squares. And I've blocked out the student names for privacy's sake. But I can see down at the very bottom, if you notice that there is a yellow block, it tells me this student is working in pre-K skills. But the rest of these kindergarten students are already working in kindergarten grade level content, and that green square means that they are on track to meet grade level standards by the end of the school year. And it tells me that they have a very high probability of doing that. You can also see in this kindergarten class too, on the right-hand side where it says skill progress, you can see where they start. There's a lot of area that's gray. And then you can see now that they got a whole lot of students that are in that blue area. So that shows that our students at James W. Smith in this particular kindergarten class are making a lot of progress. Next slide. So what are the resources that our teachers get? So there are several things within the program, whether it's for the elementary or middle school level, the support for instruction. So our teachers get lessons that are already created, slide decks and PowerPoints that are already created that can help reinforce skills on an individual level, small group, or for whole group instruction. Classroom resources. They have best practices that are shared from educators all over the country that are housed within this platform. Student achievement. Teachers can print certificates when kids, and when they come home, grandma or parents, when they come home, they say they've leveled up, they've earned that certificate, they earned that badge. So we can print out certificates for that, but we can also print out certificates just saying, hey, Ms. Brown, you did a really great job in class today. So we can print out certificates for kids that are making progress, but it also, when kids get to the next level, it prints out a certificate. The school to home connection is so important because as an educator, we can send out reports to parents and we can send out reports in multiple languages through this particular platform. We can send out progress reports and skill reports that will tell you exactly where your child is currently reading. Guides and manuals, it tells you, what the program looks like, all the different levels, and what students have to do to meet each level. And probably the most important thing here for our educators is the research behind the program. Not that this is just a box product, but it's really a one-stop shop where our teachers can go to this one program and have all the skills and everything that they need at their disposal. Next slide, please. So as a district manager of Lexia, and principals have access to the Lexia Dashboard. So they can monitor usage on a daily basis, progress by usage, predictors, and certificates. So what I can do on my cell phone is I can log in right now, and since I've been here, we've had over 100 kids level up. So I'm looking at our data. We've got 610 certificates. We've got about 50% of our kids as of today are working on target. And it tells me that 82% of the kids in Craven County have logged into the program this week and are getting used. And I get real-time data by logging into the app to see that. Principals, when they log into the platform, they're able to see this information as well. So for parents, beyond the technology, because we know sometimes our kids get a lot of screen time. So what we can do is we can send home choice boards by grade level. And they've got very fun activities that kids can do. So this is a bingo board. We did this with our students in summer school. Some of our schools have already started sending these home for some fun extracurricular activities where kids dress up like book characters and they do things at home with everyday household items. And then on the next slide, you'll see our schools do a really good job of promoting this outside the building. So this is a Twitter message from Oaks Road Academy. Every Sunday night, I know when I go on my Twitter feed, I can see that they are promoting that, not just Oaks Road, but all our schools do a really good job of promoting the success of this program. So on Tuesday, we wanted to know about how many students are participating in the program. So in the past 4 weeks, you can see from K-8 the participation rates of our students. So in 8th grade, 94% of our students have participated in Lexia Power Up. If you look at kindergarten, 90%. 6th grade is our lowest at 77%, but if we try to get at least 80% of our students engaged in weekly, so these numbers here are really good for usage in the program. And on the next few slides, I've got some data, and I won't talk too much about this because I know our board's had a chance to preview this information. But you can see here with our elementary schools K-5, the yellow bars indicate where our students started out. So I'm going to use kindergarten just for the sake of conversation. So kindergarten started the year with 68% of the students starting below grade level. And when you go to the next slide, you'll see that that bar has drastically dropped, and you'll notice the other bars dropped too. So you can see kindergarten, we only have 25% of our students in kindergarten now working below grade level. So all the things that our teachers are doing within Lexia and in the classroom are really showing results. On the next slide, our middle school data is broken up into 3 categories. It's broken up into comprehension, grammar, and word study, so vocabulary. So you can see the data here among our students. We definitely want our students performing at the advanced level. So you can see that the yellow is for 6th grade, 7th grade is blue, and 8th grade is green. When you go to the next slide, you're going to see these bars really skyrocketing for success. So look how much they jump. 8th grade in particular, 95% of our students are performing at either in grade level or above grade level within this Lexia program. On the next slide, you'll see our grammar data. You know, when I was in school, you know, old school, you know, we diagram sentences and all that. Grammar is still important. And one of the things this program does is it reinforces grammar, sentence writing, capital letters, punctuation. You can see here that the majority of our schools started out really high below grade level. And then if you go to the next slide, you can see the progress that we've made over just a few weeks. And then on the last slide, the word study, which is vocabulary, you can see where our students are in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then when you go to the last slide, you can see how much progress that we've made in all 3 particular grade levels. So we're very pleased with this progress. We're not taking our foot off the gas, but we do want to continue to put the pedal to the metal and continue to get good results. So I'll open the floor up now for questions from the board.
All of mine were answered. I don't have any, but I wish you would be a little bit more enthusiastic the time you present.
I'll take that. I'll work on that.
Ms. Muse?
I have a question for you. You do present really well. It's mind-boggling. Guys, y'all are the experts, right? Our presenters tonight. Do y'all like doing your Lexia?
Yeah.
You do.
He said no.
Hey, kids are the best critics.
Yeah. That's why I'm asking them. I know I'm gonna get told the truth.
Absolutely.
So do you guys like it when you get like your badges and your certificates and stuff? Okay. And do you guys work really hard to get those?
Yeah. I just got a level 1.
Well, hot dog, good for you. So what?
She just leveled
That's
up.
what it
What
looked
level?
like.
14. That's
Good
awesome.
girl.
All right.
All right, that's all I wanted to know. And now I
Great
have
job.
one more question. I'll be right back. You're killing
You have any more, Ms. King?
As Chairman Boomer alluded to, I was sitting here thinking you could sell ice water to Eskimos because you have that enthusiasm, and your enthusiasm is it exudes, and we appreciate that you are passionate about what you're doing. And our students are gaining the results from your leadership and your team's leadership. Want to make sure that parents understand that Lexia is not to replace teachers. Want to make sure that they understand that we don't, like you said, we don't put our students in front of a device from 7:30 to 3:30. And that this is just a supplemental, because we know that nothing can take the place of the classroom teacher. But these things that we're finding to help to supplement some of the foundational gaps that we have. And we're looking for great results with our EOGs. With all this leveling up that is taking place every day, there is no way that we can't be leveled, that we will not be leveled up with our EOGs. So we appreciate your efforts.
So I make a motion, we approve the purchase of Lexia for $212,200 with Title I funds and $35,700 with Title IV funds for the non-Title I schools.
Second.
It has been moved and second that we approve the funding for the Lexia program for this year. Are you ready for the question? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Jason. It is approved.
Thank you.
At this time, we would like to get the approval of the board minutes, the following meeting dates. September 14th, the special call meeting minutes for September 14th, 2021 board work session. September 16th, 2021 board meeting minutes, and September 20th, 2021 board retreat minutes. And the special closed session minutes for September 14th, 2021 Board of Education closed session minutes. I'd like to get these approved.
Second.
It had been moved and second that these minutes will be approved. Are you ready for the question? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, saying ayes have it. These minutes are approved. I'd like to ask this time if there anything that needs to be removed from the consent agenda. If there is nothing to be removed, I ask that we entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and second that the consent agenda be approved. Are you ready for your question? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Those opposed, the same. Ayes have it. The consent agenda is approved. And I know that you all are ready for a break, and at this time, we will take a 10 minutes break. This meeting of the Craven County Board of Education back to order. I hope that everybody had a good break. And at this time, we will do our public input. Ms. Smith, do we have any public input tonight?
We do, Chairman Boomer. We have 4.
Okay.
Our first will be Scott Farr.
Good evening. I spoke briefly last month about the wholesale ineffectiveness of the COVID-19 mitigation strategies currently touted for schools. I'd like to elaborate on a few of the points in response to rebuttals from the members of the board, and I'd like to briefly address the risk-benefit calculus that makes this entire conversation moot. As I mentioned last month, I have a lot of experience in risk analysis and risk mitigation. To date, after nearly 2 years, roughly 500 children have died from COVID total. Nearly half of those were incidental, meaning that COVID was not even a causal factor like a car accident or drowning or something. Most of the other deaths were of children that were seriously ill or had significant comorbidities. For some perspective, smallpox is apocalyptic with roughly 30% mortality rate. Polio is fatal to a few out of every 100, measles less so out of about 1 per 1,000. For a healthy child, the risk of hospitalization, let alone death from COVID, is about 1 in a million, the same as being struck by lightning. The flu has far more danger to children, and RSV is exceedingly more dangerous to children. For some additional perspective, the FBI's latest statistics on murder put the average American's risk of being murdered at roughly 1 in 15,000. Pediatric deaths from unintentional injury and suicide dwarf that of COVID. Drowning deaths in 2020 alone were in excess of 2,000 for children. Less than 1% of pediatric deaths are with, not even from, COVID. In 2019, there were over 46,000 pediatric hospitalizations from flu. It was not uncommon for fully half of a class to be sick with the flu. We did not upend these children's lives because of it, despite 477 pediatric deaths that were caused by the flu that year. As of September, less than 4,000 children have been hospitalized as a result of COVID, a full order of magnitude or 10 times fewer than from that single flu season. Your collective actions are terrifying children because adults are scared. This should not be the way of the world. Adults have a responsibility not to sacrifice children for their own perceived fears. Kids are terrified that if they go out without a cloth mask over their face and nose, they will get sick or make complete strangers sick. They are terrified that if they hug each other or play with each other, they could kill someone. What is wrong with you all? What about the lifetime complex you are giving a generation of children that basic human interaction is bad and dangerous? It will not take long for the deaths caused by your collective mental and psychological damage to far exceed the threat posed by COVID. To be clear, it already has. Last month, the board spoke about keeping kids in the classroom being a priority and saying we have a lot of work to do to make up for lost learning. Yes, you do. So here's the thought. Keep the kids in school, keep the schools open, stop unnecessarily quarantining healthy children. The lost learning, lost earning potential, lost opportunities for life advancement and generational wealth are so beyond the negligible threat from COVID that children face. It is hard to imagine that any educated person could so blatantly ignore it. You also flashed up a big blue map showing how many school districts in North Carolina are requiring masks as a way of somehow justifying your decision. That doesn't mean that it is either effective or right. Entire groups of people often jump in together in blind support of the wrong thing. Just look at slavery or the Salem witch trials. Nevertheless, counties not requiring masks currently have better or similar numbers to most of the ones that do. There is no correlation, no clinical benefit, no controlled data that supports masking has any impact at all, period. Just let the parents decide what's best for their children. They know what's best and you do not. The entirety of the UK does not require masks in school because they looked at the data, determined that they don't work, appropriately accounted for the risks of forced masking and keeping kids out of school, and determined that the cost benefit did not add up. And while we're on the subject, since this is sure to be a contentious issue in the very near future, do not even think about mandating universal COVID vaccination for school-aged children as a condition of attendance. That is a risk decision that every parent must make with their pediatrician based on the specific medical circumstances and needs of their own children. However, I would like to point out for those that are not aware that for a healthy adolescent boy, the risk of vaccine injury, specifically myocarditis, based on the vaccine companies and the CDC's own data, puts it at roughly 1 in 10 to 1 in 20,000, which far outweighs the risk of hospitalization by at least a factor of 4, best case. Finally, I find it unconscionable that members of this board are so callous, so dismissive, and so flippant to the concerns of parents, but especially students. Mr. Ipock's August email to a struggling student at New Bern High School was utterly disgraceful. In response to this student, who self-admittedly was one of the better coping students, wrote to you with sincere consideration of the impact that these policies were having on many students, you took a markedly smug and condescending tone. No, sir, you are not doing what you can to help the children. Your recommendations are not backed by good science. Your risk-benefit calculations are utterly absurd. How can you possibly sit on this board in good conscience knowing the incalculable damage that you're causing? It was a squandered opportunity, sir. Your response was also met with a big "Let's go, Brandon," for you and probably by most of his friends. I implore you all to support the children mentally, emotionally, and physically. Field trips are not enough. Stop scaring them and give them their lives back before it's too late. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harr. The next speaker is Glenn Fink.
Glenn Fink, 646 Goose Creek Road. I was encouraged at the September work session with a spirited debate and the board making changes to policies to improve consistency related to COVID. There were discussions about holding other entities accountable, such as Craven County, for duties necessary for our schools. And I know the topic's complex, there's no pat answers, but some board members didn't seem to like pushing back at all, like we shouldn't do this. The good news is the balanced approach with the county was developed. Not pushing back is how our schools find themselves doing a bunch of things unrelated to teaching our students. So we need to do that when appropriate. I'm disappointed the public input is now limited to 30 minutes and tonight it's not an issue. The board states the importance of public input, but this does not reconcile with the time limit. Also, recent change while board members respond to public input has been disappointing. Some board members have used that time to discredit the public input. Eliminating that time and giving it back to the public for input is something that would be great. The equity audit, brief update last month is appreciated. I was curious about where that stood. My concern is these processes seem to focus on affirmative action concepts. An example shared by the auditing contractor on their website is people of color being unrepresented or underrepresented in the AGT program. This program is merit-based. Those with performance that meet the standards are provided the opportunity to participate. Manipulating the process to be quasi-merit-based to correct this problem is counterproductive to all involved. That said, the AVID program, which I've learned more about recently, is extremely effective, producing amazing results. Evaluating how this program can be used to have challenging impact on students that do not qualify for AGT would be very beneficial. Certain AGT materials could potentially and concepts could potentially be incorporated. So I think we want to challenge everybody, but we want to use the right approach. I've recently asked several questions to the board and received prompt feedback with open sharing. Unfortunately, it is difficult to get details on curriculum and lessons plan, but work on this continues. I requested information related to an anonymous parent post on Concerned Parents Facebook page, where they seemed surprised to find out their children are being taught there are 7 genders. This program is by the Center of Health Policy of Inequalities Research at Duke University. The mission of the center is to improve health of individuals and communities locally, nationally, and internationally by addressing health inequalities through interdisciplinary policy relevant research, interventions, and evaluations. Oh, that's a mouthful. A letter was provided to parents of 9th grade students describing the program, Making Proud Choices. offered as a unit of health class. The letter provides the opportunity for parents to opt out, but as at least was found by this one, they didn't notice it or take action. Although there are some topics covered in the letter I do not think they are appropriate. The letter is worded to sound very, very benign. It doesn't lead me to believe the concept of 7 genders will be taught. Never missing an opportunity to data mine, participants will be asked to participate in confidential evaluations of the Prepare Success Program by completing a short online survey pertaining to your child's knowledge, attitudes, and behaviors related to positive youth development, sexual activity, teen pregnancy, and sexually transmitted infectious prevention. This sounds like a research project. My final point on the 7 genders concern. Everyone wants to follow science until it conflicts with an agenda or a progressive movement. Based on my God, the creator, backed by basic biology, there are only 2 genders, male and female. I'm not confused about the definition of gender and sex. I've requested and look forward to getting more details on what is specifically taught in this unit of health class. When I ask who vets the programs to determine if it's appropriate for our students here in Craven County, it is a curriculum division that does that, which I'm unfamiliar with. Need to look into it more. It doesn't sound like a local body, which if it's not, it's a concern to me. I don't know that for a fact. Based on my limited review of the program website, the resources for teens, Duke Health Club list, which is a bunch of websites, I'm against the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fink. The next speaker is Heather McManus.
I just start? Okay, hi, sorry, this is my first time. My name is Heather McManus. Nice to see you all. I have 2 children in our school system, and I just came because I'm just really starting to get involved in the community. So I came to the work session on Tuesday, and I thought that was really insightful. And I really felt like, man, I wish I had more parents there, more people, because I feel like there's a lot of questions that I got answers to. Really useful things like knowing that we're using the HEPA filters in all of our schools now, because that was something that I had wondered about. The school nutrition program, that was very insightful. And that lady, I don't remember her name, but she was wonderful. I wanted to say thank you for allowing the visitors to come back in the school, and especially for the field trips. I think it's great. And then I was also going to say that Mr. Griffin, he seems pretty amazing. And I know you were looking for somebody to focus on the ESSER funds. Maybe you could give him a bonus for a few months or however. I also wanted to give a little bit of feedback on Lexia. My oldest, just went into middle school. He absolutely loves it. He was already in the Power Up in 5th grade, midway through his 5th grade. So he's excelled greatly in that program. But it doesn't seem like his excelling in Lexia equates to the testing well, because when he tested well, he tested at the very beginning, 5th grade, 3rd month, instead of testing at a middle school level, which is what he's doing Lexia at. So if there is some kind of program that you can resource that makes your tests more like your program, maybe, that would help you would see your bang for your buck, I guess, is a good way to put it. And then I did want to address, face masks. I do feel like there is, it's very disheartening when I took my kindergartner to school, to see that look in his face. It's a terror, honestly, in a 5-year-old's eyeballs when you go to drop them off at school and they cannot see anybody's facial expressions. And it took my son to the end of the 2nd week to even notice he was in class with kids that he had gone to school with in preschool for years. It's very terrifying for them. And I don't know if you have been there on day 1 to experience that with them, but it's a very scary thing. And then to see the way that they come home, it's taken him
a lot longer to decompress in the afternoon times when he comes home. He's kind of like a different kid in a way. He's not as happy-go-lucky. So it is an absolute, you can tell a difference. You can just tell a difference. I was looking at some of the CDC data today on Craven County, and they say that we have 98.2% of our population over 65 with at least one shot, and almost 89.8 fully vaccinated. So our most vulnerable population, they are protecting themselves, essentially, doing the best that they can. And I would also like to mention that Mr. Dove, even in the meeting when he wanted to address Mr. Lee, he felt the need to remove his face mask so he could see his face and see his expression. So he really understood how he was trying to communicate. And that is so important. It's so important for all of us. And even to watch you guys take pictures up here, and we can't see any of your smiles. I mean, really, we're not made to be like that. That's all I had to say. I just wanted to give a little feedback. Sorry. It's an emotional topic, so but thank you.
Thank you. And our last speaker is Dixie Mann.
Hello. First I want to apologize because I'm not really prepared like I should be. But I do want to address masks, but also I want to address something that was said last meeting I was here. I know there's been a lot of fighting with the mask issues and stuff like that. And then Ms. King has said that, we need to quit the fight and basically it's the law. We just need to do it. That's what we need to teach our kids. It's the law. We need to follow it. She brought it up with the seatbelts. It doesn't matter if we like it. We need to do it. I think that's kind of a dangerous thought process to teach our kids. Yes, we do follow laws, but if they're just. The reason why parents are coming every meeting and fighting this is because we believe the mask mandates are not just. We believe they're hurting our kids. You're taking our rights away as parents. And all we're asking is let it be the parent's choice. We're not saying the kids have to go unmasked. If a parent feels like they want their kids masked, there's no problem. But I don't think my children should be masked. I don't think they work. My child has been riding the bus. I didn't get to talk last month about this. You guys ran out of time, but he wears his mask all the time. You guys have scared him to where he feels like if he's not wearing it, something's going to happen. He ended up getting COVID from wearing the mask on the bus because you guys want to sit 3 to a seat. I don't know if you guys think it's so serious. Why are you guys packing the buses that much? It was addressed. You guys are quarantined. I don't know why we have to quarantine. The masks work, but apparently they don't. And that's what we're trying to say. There was a new study out of Florida, with the governor saying, do not mask the kids. And they've shown that it doesn't matter if you mask the kids or not. The COVID rate is the same for the schools that mask and the schools that don't mask. The only thing that aggravates me, it doesn't matter. We've had for the past couple of months, people come up, bring our own data. We've done research, we brought it, we presented it to you, and we feel like you guys just ignore us. I don't know how anyone else feels, but I feel like you guys take your role as like your rulers over us, and we're just the peasants. And I don't think that's the case. You guys are elected officials into this position. You're elected to represent the people who elected you, and I don't think you guys are doing that. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Completes our public input, Chairman Boomer.
Okay. I'd like to thank you for your public input tonight, and I'm going to give the board members an opportunity to respond to what was said. Mr. Alcott, we'll begin with you. With your hand up?
Not really.
Oh, I thought you were. I'm
I
sorry.
have a question in my mind about the letter or the email or the response. I would like to have a copy of that and the name of the student, and I'll review it. I don't believe I've been in trouble with the student and sharing the information I have. I will say that last week at the North Carolina School State Board of Education, DHHS made a presentation. It's online. It's very clear. The schools that are masked have a third the case load for COVID in the schools that schools that are unmasked have. There have been no clusters in masked schools, and there have been clusters in unmasked schools. Now, I know we have a lot of experts that come here and tell us what we should do, but I'm going to look at DHHS and some of the other professional organizations to gather my data.
Everyone else? Okay. Dr. Miller, will you give us your superintendent report, please?
I have several items for the board tonight. First, I was asked every month to do a COVID update. I did that earlier, but I'm going to review that tonight, both for the board and for the community here and listening in. So first of all, this is a condensed report from what I did Tuesday, but to affirm some of the changes. The COVID data is showing you Craven County Schools' first data of positive cases. And as you can see, what's happening is what we all want to be happening. Our cases, both for staff and students, are declining. This week, a major celebration for the first time in 18 months, we had a day where we had 0 positive cases in Craven County Schools. 0 students, 0 staff. That we're heading in the right direction. Also, the quarantines are, they are also down. As you remember, at one point we had over 1,700. We're down to 198. So that is great news as well. In the next slide, the levels of transmission, and this is important because the board has committed to moving to mask optional when we're at yellow. And this is the state of North Carolina. We're still very much in the red, but moving quickly in the right direction. So the protocols we have in place, as you shared, we made some changes this week. We are now allowing visitors and volunteers in the buildings, but they must adhere to the established protocols for volunteering and COVID. By that, I mean, if a parent wants to volunteer, you must be on the approved list and they can go on the Craven County website and apply to be a volunteer. Parents, I know there's many things you want to do with your students, such as have lunch is one I've heard about. As long as you're following the safety protocols, and that may mean that the student has to, move away from other students because that is a time when students are unmasked. But we are opening our buildings for all visitors and volunteers as long as the safety protocols are followed. Again, this has been in place for athletic events and band participation. We have protocols when they perform, when they're actively engaged in the activity, and then when they're sitting together. All field trips are now open to request approval. I did not say are approved because they still have to follow the approval process to ensure that safety protocols are in place, not just related to COVID, of course, but that we have the proper number of volunteers and visitors, which is why it's so important that we open our volunteer process up so parents can help us as we start to take our students on field trips. Overnight trips are also open, again, to request approval. They have to follow the process. And all activities and events are open with the protocols in place. Those were changes the board approved earlier. Okay, update on mask. As everyone is aware, I'm required to bring before you the mask policy each month. And the board has the option to keep the policy as is or to adopt a different policy, being either mask required or mask optional. So the board has said that moving to yellow. So again, this is the map I heard someone reference earlier. We're starting to see some red spots. Again, I believe we all want to move to see those with the proper protocols in place. So I thought it was worth sharing again tonight in the next slide, how we move to yellow. So in Craven County, to move to yellow, 2 things have to happen. We have to have cases per 100,000 that will show you the cases we have to have. So for us, that would be 60 cases in that 7-day period. We're at 210. That's what's keeping us, the number of positive cases is what's keeping us moving to yellow. Because I'm happy to report the percent positives 7.9%, we're at 8.1. We are really close to getting to yellow as far as the percent positives. It's the number of cases, and they're declining as well. So I'm looking forward to that day. So I thought it was worth sharing with the board what I believe should be our process and to get the board support. When Craven County moves to yellow based on the 7-day average, and this is in the next slide, the superintendent will contact the board chair, and a special called meeting will be noticed to the public for the purpose of adopting a mask optional policy. The policy will be presented to the Board of Education for approval that masks are optional as of the date of the meeting in which the decision is made, so it would be immediate. And masks will still be required on public transportation because that is required by federal law until that's relieved with federal law. In other words, I am not recommending we wait till the next month to look at the policy. If we go to yellow in between board meetings, it is my recommendation that we call a special called meeting to make mask optional. Any questions from the board about this? Ms. Clark. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Boomer, to call her Ms. Clark.
Just clarification with regard, and I agree, it's good policy about allowing visitors and volunteers in school. Who determines how many volunteers and visitors you're going to have in that particular school on a certain day?
Well, going back to the previous process that we had before COVID, you would always work out with your principal or the classroom teacher. You would schedule that you're coming to have lunch with your child, you're going on a field trip. When I say we're open, that doesn't mean folks just show up. They didn't do that before, that you would arrange that with the principal and the classroom teacher so they can ensure, one, that they know who's coming, and two, if there is an issue with too many people being in the class, they can make arrangements in advance. So you always check in the office and always make prior arrangements with the teacher and or principal.
I'm glad you cleared that up because I've got several phone calls from some principals who were concerned about when we say that that volunteers and visitors are put into the building. And I said, well, you are in control of the school. You know, you still have to have your rules and protocols in place. And I said, for instance, if you have 5 or 6 parents who want to check out their child at the same time, then you will not allow them, everybody to be in the office at the same time. You still have to practice social distance. So you will allow one person in the office at a time. And that once that child has, has been called, then that parent will exit, and then another parent will come in and they can social distance while they're waiting. So even though they can go in the building, we still have to practice protocol. Still have to do 6 feet and all of that.
And that's what the board
And
approved.
that's what they were concerned about. And I said, as far as children, as far as parents going to eat lunch with their child, that is something that they need to get in contact with the school for. And it does not mean that just because they come in, I want to go down the hall to see my child, because we still have to have some protocols in place. And she was concerned about that, how much cleaning do we have to do and all that. And so I understand where they were coming.
And every school has a volunteer coordinator, and they help with that. It's a parent that is the volunteer coordinator, and they help align what type of volunteer services are wanted in the school and how parents can help, because some parents work, and they still want to do things, and they cut things out for teachers at night. So certainly we want to engage our families and our volunteers back in our schools. So there's a number of ways we can do that.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this is appropriate time. Are we going to talk about our school improvement plan presentations, or if that is?
That's the last item that I was going to bring up tonight.
Sorry, ma'am.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that we, based on Dr. Miller's recommendation, that we approve the mask policy with the process that she outlined. Should we move to yellow in between now and
Second.
November?
Second.
It has been moved and second that we approve the math policy that Dr. Miller has suggested to us. The way that we would handle it. Are you ready for the question? All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye has it. Thank you, Dr. Miller.
Okay, and the next is the actual current policy that you're required by state law to take action on. So based on what I'm hearing you say, you're going to keep the mask policy as is for this month, so you'll need to have a vote on that as well.
thought that's what my motion was.
Okay, and I wasn't sure about that,
It
so
was to include, it was
to
to
include
approve
the
the mask
mask.
policy with the
Perfect.
process for
Okay.
moving in between. Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that that was very clear. All right, last thing prior to talking about school improvement. Tonight, I am very excited to bring to you a recommendation for salary adjustments and bonus payments for 3 employee groups. All employees in the Craven County School System are educators. Everyone plays a role in making our district successful. That's why we constantly reinforce the importance of CCS United. It takes all the employees, the parents, and our community to make our district one of which we can all be proud. First, tonight, I recommend a salary adjustment for our bus drivers. Bus drivers are the first faces our students see each day, and they ensure our students get to school safely. I've heard it said that the bus drivers are the bookends to student success, since the academic day starts and ends with our bus drivers. Because they play such a determining factor in how our school days start for our students, they play a vital role in their academic success as well. Bus drivers have not had a raise in over 10 years. Yet each day they get up and they do their job. We have bus drivers that have driven our buses for over 35 years for our students, our families, and our district. Our current rate for bus drivers starts at $13 an hour. We have a bus driver that's been driving for 36 years, and she makes a little over $15 an hour. Tonight, I would like to recommend a change in the bus driver salary schedule to reflect the important work our bus drivers do each day. This came to us as a recommendation from our transportation director, Dr. Hassel. So now I would like to extend our bus driver salary to begin at $15, and the bus drivers that have been driving for 35 years will now make $23.27 an hour. I believe our students' safety is worth every penny of that. The salary scale I'm recommending is attached in the agenda, and I request board approval.
So moved. Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we make the salary adjustment for our bus drivers. Are you ready for the question? All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
I have it, and Dr. Milton may proceed with it.
And I hope some bus drivers are listening because it will take effect November 1st. Next, I'd like to talk to you about our substitute teachers. They're called sometimes at the last minute, but they step up and they serve our district. Without substitutes, some of our schools would not be able to have remained open during this challenging time. Tonight, I'm recommending a daily rate of pay increase for our substitutes that are certified from $103 a day to $110 a day. That's still not where it needs to be, but that will put us the highest in the region. Secondly, those who have had effective teacher training, I would like to recommend an increase to $85, again, putting this the highest in our region. So I would request board approval to increase our substitute pay.
That's a move. Second.
Been moved and seconded that, to approve a raise for our substitute teachers.
Discussion.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, just a question. I mean, I think it's a great idea. Just need to know, when you say we're the highest in the region, and I thought we were the second highest. Pitt County, we're not in that region?
We're not in that region. We will be the second highest for regions touching us. That's who we want to go after. We want to pay our folks better than any other place because 2 things. I believe Craven County Schools is a great place to work and learn, but I also know people have to make a living. If we believe that and we want to recruit the best, we're going to have to pay to recruit the best.
And again, it's a great suggestion. I agree with it. I just wanted clarification.
Mine's a clarification too. I thought I heard 85, but you mean 95, right? Or
85,
I'm
it's
looking at
110 for
85.
certified, 85 for ETT. Is that not what the attachment says?
mine says 95. That's what I
Okay.
want to make sure.
Okay, well, I would, if I put 95, then that was the thing from cabinet, so I would request 95. Yeah, hey, if I can get 95, I would certainly request 95.
I just want to be clear so we can pay 95,
Yes.
though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The majority of our substitutes are the ETT certified, and they do pay to get that, so absolutely 95.
Yes, ma'am. I know you spoke up. First, I want to say I think it's a great thing what we just did for the bus drivers, trying to bring them closer to livable wages. But you spoke about those working 23 plus years will make X amount of dollars. But what about those that's been there 8, 10, 12, 20? Are they going to stay where they are now, or will they get a bump up now as well?
Everyone gets a bump up. Can you put that attachment up? It actually shows the scale. And our bus drivers who have been with us, it's been 10 years since they've gotten a raise. This actually puts a raise in every year. So wherever they fall on the scale, Ms. Hassel's already figured that out. That's what their new rate of pay will be.
Gotcha.
Any questions about that? I have one more request.
There's a motion on the floor.
Yeah, and I just have, well, mine's on the motion. I just want clarification on where do long-term subs fit in this? Because, you know, do they get paid daily? That's just my understanding, because so many teachers say they're covering classes because of, you know, the long-term subs. Are they paid at the daily rate like this?
It depends if they are covering for a teacher that is on leave. If they have leave, they get the daily sub rate. If the teacher has gone for extended period of time and we're not paying the teacher, then they could get the teacher pay if they're a certified teacher. So
Okay.
they would get more than this.
Okay.
All right, so the motion's on the floor to raise the substitute teachers' pay. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, those opposed, ayes have it, and the substitute teachers' pay will be raised.
I have one more thing on my wish list. Finally, our teacher assistants. Again, no pay increase for over 10 years. We have a caregiver making $11.22 an hour. These folks are keeping our schools open. They're in our classrooms when we can't find a teacher. They serve in many roles and support both the instructional support and other supports in our schools. When we have vacancies, it is the teacher assistants that step up and serve in the role of teacher until a teacher can be hired. Tonight, I would like to recommend a $3,000 bonus for our teacher assistants that have not already been given the bonus payment this year. I'm also committed to a salary adjustment next year. This was not included in this year's budget, but I want the teacher assistants to hear that I'm committed to doing their salary like I did the bus drivers for next year, to put them on a new salary schedule. But for now, I request a $3,000 bonus paid over 3 years, $1,000 a year, to be paid the first payment this December. If someone starts in January or after December 1st, their $1,000 payment would come in May. Again, I want teacher assistants to hear my message clearly, that I'm committing to adjusting their pay next year and plan to include that in our annual budget. So tonight I make that request to you.
Give you a motion to approve a pay increase for our teacher assistant.
Second.
Question.
I didn't make that motion. I didn't mean to say it that way. I want to make a motion that a teacher assistant be given a $3,000 bonus this year with a pay increase for next year. That's the motion.
Do we want that in the motion for sure?
I think you want to just the bonus for now, because I will bring back the salary schedule next year.
Okay.
Was it moved and seconded?
Yeah.
It had been moved in second that the teacher assistant will get a $3,000 bonus this year.
So my question for clarification, these funds that we were approving are coming from ESSER funds?
The bonus is coming from ESSER funds. The pay increases are coming from the funds we already have in our budget, reoccurring funds. That's why, and that's a good point. That's why we don't want to use ESSER funds to give pay increases, because that's a temporary grant fund. I want to make sure when we give raises, we can sustain that for a long period of time.
I also want folks to hear that we hear from teachers that they, you know, are not getting, that the COVID dollars are not getting to them in the classroom, that all of these bonuses and things, they are COVID dollars getting
Yes, ma'am.
to the teachers in the classroom and the assistants. So thank you.
We need to hear from our board attorney, Mr. Gaskell.
Chair. $3,000 for 1 year, or $1,000 over 3 years.
$3,000, $1,000 paid each year over a 3-year period for a total of 3,000.
And the first one, December.
Yes, ma'am.
We didn't need to vote on it. We got a motion.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So those in favor of the $3,000 bonus for the ticket system to be given in 3 increment payment over the next 3 years. Are you ready for, let it be known by saying aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. So approved.
All right, and I think there was one other item. The school improvement plans will be presented in November on 3 separate days. So I didn't know if there was any question to schedule for those or at your seats. Any questions on those?
All right, let us know how important it is for us to sign up so we don't have a too many.
Well, if that's what we need to decide if we're going to have a call meeting to do this, or we're just going to just have the presentations with 3 board members attending.
Discussion.
Yes, ma'am.
A friendly inquiry as to why we're limiting it to 3.
Otherwise, you'll have to have a public call.
Mhm.
Cannot have a majority of the board.
But then what would be the harm in having a public meeting so that all the board members who wanted to participate could?
I'm happy to give you that advice in closed session.
Thank you, sir. I would like to go into closed session, okay? You have the litany?
I don't have it, but he can read it for us.
I can give it to you. Do we have any personnel issues?
We do not.
The motion would be to go into closed session.
Do we want to do that now?
General Statute 143-3.
We don't need to do it now.
11A3. Do
Okay.
you want it later?
Yes.
Okay.
So that we're live, so they don't all have to sit here for us.
And the last thing I have is just an update. You had a policy with some strikeouts earlier in the week that Ms. Lee presented. We did reach out to the group of attorneys that help us with that. And it was just as we had discussed, to be inclusive of everyone and not have particular groups without naming every single group that there possibly could be, that the word every and all means every and all. So it is certainly recommended, not required. That policy will come back to you next month for further discussion. So we will talk about that again next month. But I did tell you that I would follow up with the attorneys that recommended the policy. And that's all I have.
No, we've already done the discussion of public input. Forward's been moved, so yep, Ben and celebration.
Have it been
I can see any. Nope.
Okay. So we have, now we will share our celebration.
Which one do you want to start on?
Let's start with Ms. Park.
Thank
You have
you.
any celebration?
Yes. Even though we're discussing or going to get into detail on one of our goals, respect, in November, I'm heartened at our behavior today. I think we truly listened as allies, as board members. I think we respected one another. We might disagree. I think even with regard to a public input, it's okay to disagree, but it's not okay to disrupt, and that didn't occur today. So I'm heartened, and that's my celebration. Thank you.
The children tonight were great. And it was nice that they included us in their activity. I appreciate our parents who come and speak to us. And they're right. They do know, I know my child better than anyone else, and they know their child better than me. So I appreciate their care and their concern and that they continue to come.
Mine is Myra. I know we already said it, but guys, I mean, me and Francis Carr, maybe I think we're the ones that have been through 4 superintendents with her. And I just cannot express to y'all how much I'm gonna miss that woman. Because you talk about people who just Lots of people are good people, but she is rock solid. So I'm gonna really miss her. So she's my celebration. She's a rare bird.
I want to celebrate our superintendent, Dr. Wendy Miller, because your heart is definitely Craven County. And we appreciate the efforts that you're making to put us back on the map in a positive way. And what you're doing for teachers, what you're doing for families, to increase pay, doesn't hurt. And just the feel, the atmosphere that we have in the building, and we know that it comes from the top and it sprinkles down beneath. So we appreciate you.
In that same vein, I want to celebrate the recommendations of the superintendent for long overdue increases for very vital people in the organization. Thank you for bringing that.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to celebrate Miss Wendy Miller for being courageous and brave enough and thoughtful enough, along with Miss Hassel, to bring the bus drivers up to a better wage. Since it has been spoken of twice, I just want to celebrate this entire board. It seems like we might have been through a lot of things this year, but through it all, each of you all have given me encouragement and tutelage and are continuing to help mold me into what a board member needs to be. So I just want to celebrate you all, each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did you do yours?
I celebrate everything that everybody else is celebrating. Because they said what I was going to say.
Exactly.
But I would like to especially celebrate this board. Because I know that your heart is in the right place. And I know that you can't, just thinking about 2 kids or 3 kids, we have to consider 12,500 children. And I know that we want what's best for the children. And I know that we catch the heat sometimes. And but I do celebrate, you never give up, you keep on moving, you do what you think is best. And I celebrate you all, I celebrate us working together as a team, trying to do what we think is best for the children, and best for the teachers, and best for all our employees. That's what I celebrate tonight. Yes, you can play.
I'd like a staff, if you're a staff member in Craven County Schools, please stand up. This is what I'd like to celebrate. I mean, I'm flattered, but these are the people who are doing the work, and I just get to sit up here and show off their work. So I just wanted to publicly say, I appreciate you, and I'm honored to serve along with you. That's my celebration.
Now, we have our last celebration tonight. Keep celebrating, it should be
Thank you.
This time I'm going to ask Dr. Miller, she will evaluate, to facilitate the evaluation of the student.
Looking at your goals tonight, what helped you accomplish those goals? The pluses.
Jason Griffith, presentation.
Other pluses.
Advanced degrees
Yes.
that are going to stay in Craven County.
I would like Dr. Wallace to bring her children to my house on field trip to teach my husband some responsibility. And how to pick up behind him.
They have nailed it, haven't they?
Because they are.
They nailed it.
Before everybody leaves, I want to thank our educators retired that have been here with us tonight, and some are still here.
It was nice to have a great audience. And I mean, there were a lot of people here, and they And they weren't lined up for, I mean, they were here for celebrations and being a part of it and learning. And I think that's a great thing. In fact, that same thing for work session. We had the parent that spoke tonight that was here for work session and others. The more participation, the better. So we appreciate that.
Other pluses. All right, in order to help us improve, what could we do better? Delta.
We need more chairs. I mean, I mean that seriously though. It's hard to when you see them all standing up.
Any other Deltas? All right, I'll review those. Pluses, Jason Griffin, advanced degrees, Dr. Wallace students, retired educators attending, a great audience for celebrations and for learning. And the Delta is more chairs.
All right. I need to get a motion for us to go into closed session.
That motion would be moved to go into closed session, consult with the board attorney in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3.
You heard that motion?
I so move.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.